Hey gang, welcome back to Better Call Sexton. I'm your host, James Sexton. We have got a full docket today, but before we begin, remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those things. It really helps the channel, and check us out at sextonshow.com with your viewer submissions. On today's docket, Joe Budden podcast, do not call somebody a sucker. We learned some lessons about the drama that happens there. Instagram rolls out the Instagram for kids. Is this good or is this a cheese in the rat trap kind of a thing? We talk about trusted prenup, getting some wonderful free press in the free press. We have a viewer submission about boundaries. We do a Sexton-ism, all this and more. Let's get after it.
All right, Jim, as you said, we start with the Joe Budden podcast.
Oh my God.
For the audience who may not be familiar, Joe Budden is a rapper turned very successful podcaster. And in the past year, he added an addition to the show, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. He's a former CNN correspondent, political talking head, author, guy. Very intellectual, articulate, and joined kind of a circus type podcast. Had an incident with one of the co-hosts, Queen's Flip, where they almost came to blows. We could play a little bit.
Oh, you queued it right to it. All right.
Even if you do win favors, even if you do win favors, you try to point out everything else that nobody do. That's sucker shit to me.
When do I do that?
You try to point out.
Don't call me a sucker no more. 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 Don't call me a sucker no more.
Don't call me a sucker no more.
I'm not calling you. I'm saying that's sucker shit.
Hey, everybody has their triggers.
I'm saying that's sucker shit. You're not a sucker, but that's sucker shit.
And I'm telling you, when you say that sucker shit, I take it like you saying it to me. So I'm saying.
What I'm saying.
Let's do this.
It goes on like this for a little while. This is not.
So
you get the taste of it.
Almost came to blows, and now sparked a lot of reaction.
By the way, I would like to point out and again, it's because I'm a lawyer. We're very specific. But he did actually not call him a sucker. I will tell you, because this comes up a lot. I had a client call me last week, and they said my husband called our kids stupid. And I said, what? Or my soon-to-be ex-husband. I said, what did he say? And he said, quit acting stupid. And I said, that's not the same as calling your kid stupid. In fact, inherent in stop acting stupid is the suggestion that your child is not stupid. You're acting stupid and you're not stupid, so you shouldn't be acting that way. Your action is not congruent with your actual non-stupidity. So saying that's some sucker shit is actually suggesting that he is in fact not a sucker and that his actions are not congruent with his non-sucker status. So I just want to go on record. I understand it's a trigger word. We all have things that have an emotional charge. Work this through with a therapist. I know I'm doing my best, but I would just say he did not in fact call you a sucker. He just said that was some sucker shit.
My mom used to say, you're not a bad boy, you're a good boy doing bad things.
That's it. I think a girlfriend probably said that to you too. That's always a different context though. There's they say that every woman wants a bad boy who's only good for her and every guy wants a good girl who's only bad for him. So I think that's still
bars.
That's some bars.
So anyway, this blow up has caused quite the reaction, and a lot of it is Mark's peers from, let's call it his quote unquote intellectual side, intellectual life, saying this is not good for you or your brand. You need to get off this podcast. And then there are the people saying it was great entertainment. He's just being a real human.
Yeah.
You being a professional lawyer.
I was going to say, I can relate to this a little bit.
Yeah, coming in with a sterling reputation. Now you're kind of mixing it up with weirdos like me on the internet.
Yeah.
So your thoughts?
I have a lot of well-intended colleagues who care about me, who said to me when I started this whole journey of being more of a public figure after 23 years of practice, they were like, are you crazy? Like, why are you saying this stuff on the internet? Like, why aren't you you have a successful career, you represent very successful people. Why would you put yourself out there like that? I think you have to earn the right to be yourself. I spent the first probably 15 years of my career with my sleeves buttoned all the way up, so no one ever saw my tattoos. I didn't have gray hair, so I didn't have the credibility. I think when you're young and you have things like tattoos, or you were a hospice volunteer in your 20s, or you're really into heavy metal, or you're really into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you got to keep that shit a little quiet because you're weird. You're just weird. Then, if you're successful and rich and you have those traits, you're eccentric. And you can get away with being eccentric. Now people just look at me who know me professionally and they're like, oh yeah, the Jim's one of one. Like he's kind of a lone wolf. He's like a monster in the courtroom. He knows evidence like the back of his hand. He's got half a Black's Law dictionary memorized. He follows case law. Like I am a credible attorney, but I also just sort of let it all hang out there, and I'm very open about my freak side, and I let my freak flag fly. You got to earn that shit. Like I have to tell you, like if a young lawyer who came to work for me was like, letting their freak flag fly, I'd be like, nope, button that shit up, man. Like you got to earn that. Like you got to earn it, and then you wear it like a badge, like because you've earned it. You have the ability once you've earned it. Like I proved myself as a credible force in a courtroom. I proved myself as a credible writer in the relationship space. Then I was free to be like, yeah, I sing Taylor Swift to myself in the car and I love the clips. Like, okay, like I'm full of contradictions. I contain multitudes. Like I'm allowed to be that, but you got to earn that. And I think that well-intended friends will still say to me, like, are you crazy for doing this? And it's like, listen, man, I could retire tomorrow from the law if I really wanted to. I'm still doing it because it's the love of the game. And I do this for the love of the game. Like it's really, you earn the right to do the things you love. So if he's doing this type of media work, because for the love of the game, which is the reason I'm doing it, great. Like it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to feel like you're connecting with people. Unlike my clients who are actors, like I'll have a consultation with someone I was watching the night before on Netflix. And what's interesting is like I have a client who'll remain nameless. It's a former client now. His case is done. Who always plays the nicest guy in movies, like, and in TV shows. Like he's always he is an unbelievable prick in real life. Like I like him, he likes me, but like he's just not a nice person. Like he's impatient, he's rude. Like he doesn't even try to be a nice person. Like he's just, but he has a face, like he looks like a nice guy and he's an actor. So he like reads lines on a page. Like he can't help that he's got a nice face. Like he's just nice, he looks like a nice guy. He doesn't look like a villain. That's the reality, is that like, you don't really know what an actor is like in real life. There are ones who play villains all the time and they're actually like a really lovely person in real life. I think that who you are at your work and who you are in your public face is different. The thing about doing media work like what I'm doing is people come in now, they know me. Like, because this is me. This is me in real life. This is me in my office. This is me. This is me. Like in a courtroom, there's rules. In a courtroom, there's a demeanor that has to be kept. I'm not cracking jokes. I'm not cursing when I'm in a courtroom. I'm behaving as you're supposed to behave when you're in court, which is similar to how you behave when you're in church. Like there's supposed to be a function and a form and everything is done for a reason. But I don't think that I had to earn the right to be able to do that and to be very free. I had to earn that right to be considered credible at my profession before I could get up and start telling people how I do things. That's why when I watch these people that, at a very young age are given tremendous platform, I wonder if they're really ever going to come into the fullness of themselves because the audience is shaping them. Like, I'm not going to get shaped by an audience. Like, I don't... I feel about when I win cases and lose cases, I feel how De Niro felt when they said, he's like, if I believe the good reviews, I got to believe the bad ones. Like if I get too hopped up on when I win a case, then I'm going to be heartbroken when I lose a case. Did I do my best? Did I do my absolute best? Then that's all that matters. If you did your absolute best, that's all that really matters. So I think whatever career choices he makes from here, I think there's something really, we're in an age where people love authenticity. People can smell performative shit like a fart in a car. Like people just look at it and go like, yeah, this is a performance. This is not who you really are. And I think that part of the reason of my appeal has been, if you read the comments, it's a lot of Jim's real. Jim's real, Jim's blunt. A lot of Jim's gay. I don't know where that comes from. I got to tell you. Like, I feel like I have to keep saying that. Like, if I was gay, I would be so gay. I'd be so proud to be gay. I would have like half my 401k back and a house. Like, there'd be a lot that would come. It would be amazing. Like, I would have a wonderful. I love show tunes. I would be wonderful. Every part of being gay, except the gay part, is I love. So I don't. They keep saying in the comments, I don't know. Maybe they're attracted to me. I don't know what's going on. I love it. But I have to tell you, like, yeah, I think that you really do have to earn the right to be yourself. You have to earn the right to put yourself out there like that. And I think once you do, though, it's like the coolest freedom in the world. You can just say whatever the hell you want. You don't really care because you're credible.
And before we move on, let me just say, as a fan of you and that show, like, and being a person on the internet, having people from other professions or expertise or articulate and intellectual kind of quote unquote dumbing it down or speaking to the regular people. Like, I think that's a very important and good thing that will benefit in the long run, even if maybe you look silly every now and then for a take or getting in a fight.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, if you're not occasionally going to have a bad take or like say something stupid or what, then you're not taking enough shots. Like you really need, like if you tell me you've never lost a case in court, then you're not taking on any challenging cases. Like you're not challenging yourself. Like, Michael Jordan's ad, the classic Nike ad about how many shots he missed, is fantastic because that's not what people remember you for. Like they remember the shots that you hit, but you have to miss a lot of shots along the way to hitting that many shots. So, look, I think it's a very, we're living in a moment where the democratization of information is greater than it's ever been. Like you can look up online and learn a lot of things that people used to have to go into a lawyer's office to learn about. You can go on GPT-5 and you can learn a lot of things about New York State domestic relations law that other people used to have to pay me to get. One of the things that lawyers and doctors, like we have to get increasingly better at is the ability to communicate ideas in a way that the people who need to hear those ideas can understand them. I have always said that one of my superpowers as a lawyer was my ability to explain things and explain them to a judge, explain them to a client, explain them to whatever the audience is. And I think that there's tremendous value in that, not just when you're not a professional, but as a professional. Like I have a doctor who explains things to me really well. Like, and I value him because of that, because he dumbs it down just enough for me. Cause I'd rather over understand it than feel embarrassed and have to be like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. Can you explain that a little further for me? So I think there's tremendous value in these platforms. Like I would rather be the person that has a niche audience that really likes me than have a huge audience that I have to completely dumb down or change who I am to try to capture a broader audience. I would rather be that obscure restaurant that only some people know about, but the ones who know, than be McDonald's. Like I think there's value to being McDonald's, but there's also value in being like one of one.
I think being one of those people that breaks it down so they can understand things, you are that guy to a lot of people. So.
Thanks. What's funny, I find it very charming that whenever something interesting happens in the law and I comment on it, like someone's getting divorced or someone has a court case, people are like, oh, I wanted to see what Sexton's take on this was. And I really do love that. I think that when I started doing media work only a few years ago, I was on Access Hollywood a ton and I would comment on celebrity divorces. And then they started calling me and saying, oh, can you comment on this court case? I'm like, that's a criminal case, or that's a Britney Spears guardianship case. I'm like, I'm not a guardianship lawyer. And they're like, yeah, but like people just know you're a lawyer. Like they know you as a lawyer. Like, could you just comment on this? And I was like, well, I can comment more than a layperson could because I understand the procedure of what's going on, but I'm not the expert in this. They're like, yeah, but you explain things in a way that people like and they equate you with law. And so I ended up doing a lot of segments about like the Britney Spears guardianship case, about criminal cases that people have been involved in, celebrities been involved in. So I think I love that I get to be the voice of the law. I love the law. I have to tell you, I still am a law geek at heart. Like I still think the way the court system works, the way that our adversarial legal system works, it's not perfect. Like it's the worst legal system there is, except for all the other ones. Like I think it's like our democracy. It's got tremendous flaws. It's got tremendous blind spots, but man, like we got some things right. And look, I represent the client, but I also represent the system. I don't always believe in the client, but I always believe in the system. Like I believe that the truth has a way of coming out, sometimes despite my best efforts. And I love our system. I love the way the law works. I love the concepts of stare decisis and precedent and the interplay between statutory and case law. I'm a law geek at heart.
All right. Well, I want one of your takes now on Instagram. Instagram has rolled out the new updated guidelines to their platform.
Instagram for teens.
For teens. This means it's 13 and under.
Great.
And the basic way to explain it is it's basically all content that would align with a PG-13 movie. But this means teens are no longer able to follow accounts that they have deemed inappropriate. They're no longer able to search terms that Instagram is blocking for sensitive topics. And that the teens shouldn't see content that goes against the guidelines in general. They've also updated AI.
You know which parent. Like, you know how the parents are going to install these, right? They're going to call in their 13-year-old and be like, can you fix this and install these filters that don't let you see stuff? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. Like when my kids went to college, I remember I lost my tech support. Like I was so bummed because I was constantly like, why is it doing this? He's like, press on the settings. Oh yeah, okay, now it's fixed. Thank you.
So, a good idea in theory. Of course, I think it's better than teens seeing things they shouldn't, but maybe not. What do you think?
I think this is marketing. I think anytime they're like, we've installed some new safety tools that'll make Instagram safe for your 7-year-old. What they're really saying is we would like your 7-year-old on Instagram. We haven't colonized every second of everyone's attention, and we've got earnings to post. So we would like to now, so you don't get up and say, oh, we'd like your 8-year-old on Instagram. What we say is, great news, moms and dads. We've now made something safer for you. This is the reason, by the way, why there are more fines and surcharges every single year for driving while intoxicated. Because there is no pro-drinking and driving contingency. It's a politically safe thing to do. So every politician on the right and the left is, I'm tough on drunk driving, and I passed legislation that made it tougher on drunk drivers. That's why it's constantly getting more and more expensive to get a DWI. Same thing with domestic violence. You know why we have so many domestic violence legislative initiatives? Because there's no pro-domestic violence contingency. There's nobody out there like, we demand the right to beat our wives. Like, it's not happening. So it's a politically safe issue. This is the same thing. Who is going to say when someone says, we're trying to make the internet safer for kids, everyone applauds because everyone's like, oh, that's really good. The answer to making the internet safer for kids is not getting them hooked on the internet earlier in life. I promise. Like my mentor in graduate school, Neil Postman, who wrote The Disappearance of Childhood, Technopoly, The Surrender of Culture to Technology, Amusing Ourselves to Death, all of these amazing books. He was a cultural anthropologist, a brilliant thinker, a prolific writer, one of the greatest influences on my career and on my way of viewing the world. And one of the things that Neil used to say all the time, because television and educational television was a new thing when Neil was a scholar in the 70s and the 80s. And what Neil used to say is, they're constantly telling us that Sesame Street teaches children to love learning. And that's true, insofar as learning resembles Sesame Street. But a whole lot of things you need to learn in life don't look anything like Sesame Street. They're not entertaining. You can't really teach nuanced concepts of particle physics in an entertaining way. Now, I know somebody's going to now say, no, there's a YouTube channel that does exactly that. Guys, to scale, there are going to be times where you have to be bored in school if you're really learning things, right? Like if the purpose of teaching is not just to teach children, but you have to make it super entertaining to keep their attention, we're doomed. We're doomed. So it's teaching children to love learning insofar as learning resembles Sesame Street, but it's also teaching children to love television. And that's what this is going to do. Yes. Is it better that children are viewing Instagram in a dumbed down, safe way, that they're not getting inundated with adult content? Okay, yes, that's better than them being inundated with adult content. You know what's better than that? Them not getting involved in social media until they reach an age where their sense of self is a little more well-formed. And they're not, did we not read Jonathan Haidt's book about the anxious generation and the effect that social media is having on young people, particularly young women? Like, did we just want to pass right over that and go, no, we'll just make the content a little safer and yay, pat Mark Zuckerberg on the back? Like, I have to tell you, I think that this is cheese in a rat trap. And you can say, oh no, it's free cheese. It does not feel like free cheese to me.
I'm going to push back on you because this feels a lot like preaching abstinence over safe sex. Yeah, kids
they're going to do it anyway.
Shouldn't have sex, but they're gonna, so let's make it safe. Can you really say that you're going to keep your kids off the internet? They're not going to see Instagram at school. No matter what you apply at home, they're going to go out there, they're going to be on it, so let's make it safer.
That's a fair pushback, and it's a fair argument. I will tell you, I am not a black and white thinker on some of these things. I think you can hold two competing ideas in your head at the same time. I understand that argument. It's a valid argument. I understand, by the way, the idea that preaching abstinence to people is a terrible idea. They're going to want to have sex. But to then go, yeah, they're going to have sex anyway, so we should create rooms in the school where they can have sex safely. And we should have condoms available and lubricants available for them. No. Like the dance of adults and children was always, look, we know you're up to some shit. but we're not going to give it a stamp of approval. Like, I know you're drinking, but I'm not going to be like, all right, guys, you can just drink in the house whenever you want to and have your friends over. Like, there was a polite dance between people, between the performative self of being an adult and a parent and knowing that your kid is up to some things and absolutely condoning it. Like, those are two different things. And I think this is a condemnation of very young children getting involved much earlier. It's going to make people feel, I like that people are a little self-conscious about handing their 6-year-old the tablet. I like that. I think it's good. I'm a fan of shame. Like, we should have a little bit of shame. Like, when I eat a third donut, I feel a little shame, and that's good. Like, you should feel a little shame when you're doing something transgressive. By the way, it's kind of fun to do transgressive things every once in a while. Like, having your kid that, hey, this is a treat. You get to enjoy this. It's a treat. It's not a staple of your diet. See, that's the thing. Like, I think there's a difference between having the internet be something children are gradually introduced to as a treat, as a fun thing that they get to do. And when it's a mark of getting older is that you get to have a little more freedom and things like that. Like, kids are going to eventually drive, right? So why don't we let them drive when they're 12? I'm sure there are some 12-year-olds that would be excellent drivers that have great hand-eye coordination from playing so many damn video games. But we've decided as a society that there are milestones and that this is something you get at this milestone. And by the way, would it make it fun then when you're 12 to like, okay, I get to do this thing that I'm not supposed to until I'm 13? Yes. Like, don't take all the barriers down from birth, because eventually they're going to get there, right? Like, that's what the premise of the disappearance of childhood was. Is it's like, wait, we agreed on a concept here, guys. Like, kids are going to eventually work, right? Like, when they're adults. So why don't we put them in the coal mines when they're 8? Like, because we don't. We decided we were going to create as a society some bumpers, that they weren't going to be looking at hardcore pornography when they're 10. Yeah, they'll eventually see pornography, but we don't have to feed it to them. They're going to find it. So it's the same thing with the internet. Yes, I agree with you, Kev. They're going to find the internet. They're going to crave the internet. Good. Crave it for a little while, and then you'll eventually get it. Maybe it'll keep you focused. Maybe it'll keep you, again, I have a lot of clients who tell me that the only real lever they have with their children is their children's phones. Like, that's the best lever they have. They're like, okay, I'm taking your phone away for a half an hour. You might as well take a limb of theirs off, and that's the best lever. Parents have to have levers. You think children are going to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do? No, children are supposed to be, like, when we say to someone, you're acting like a narcissist, we mean you're acting like a 15-year-old. That your self-interest is the only thing that matters. I hate you. Can you drop me at the mall? Like, that's a 15-year-old, right? So let 15-year-olds be 15-year-olds, but we got to have some levers, and things like holding off on their phone, holding off on their electronic devices. That's the best lever a lot of parents have.
We're going to get into our reader submission today. It's brought to you by trustedprenup.com.
Woohoo! Self-promotion.
Yeah, I saw a video.
I got a little free press on the free press.
Yeah, we got a topic here from Mo News talking about how Gen Z is all in on prenups, and I know a guy that you should be reaching out to if you're interested in that.
That's good.
Once upon a time, prenups were the stuff of tabloid gossip, something for the rich, the paranoid, or the twice divorced. But now, they've gone mainstream. Nearly half of engaged or married millennials have one, according to a 2023 survey. And Gen Z isn't far behind at 41%. Why the change? Well, it might have something to do with the fact that millennials were the children of the first great divorce boom. The generation grew up with joint custody schedules and awkward holidays, watching marriages disintegrate in real time. Women especially saw how their mothers and grandmothers could be treated terribly, financially trapped, or punished for the unpaid labor of stay-at-home mom life. And so they vowed not to repeat the script.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was extensively quoted in this article in the Free Press. They reached out to me about trustedprenup.com and about my experience as a divorce lawyer that led me to create trustedprenup.com. I'm a big fan of the democratization of prenups. I think that they should be more accessible. I am seeing a marked increase in the number of people that are getting prenups. All of my colleagues are. I think there's a pragmatism that's come along, but I do think it's also partly that there's just been a shift in the thinking. And I'd like to think I'm one of the thought leaders in that situation. Like I am now hearing a lot of people say something that I know I was the first person to say. Like I was the first person to look into a camera a couple of years ago and say, every marriage has a prenup. It's either one that was written by the government or it's one that was written by the two people that apparently love each other more than the other 8 billion other options. And now Thankfully, there are a chorus of people saying that. They're all taking credit for it, by the way. It's absolutely hilarious to hear my words coming out of all these people's mouths, a bunch of them with like pink behind them and girl bossing into the sun. I know, I see you. It's great to watch your content that gets 7 likes and I get like 17,000 for saying the same thing. It gives me such joy.
Get them.
It is. Nothing fuels me more than hatred. It's all just hatred and espresso. That's all that's running through me at this time.
All right, the viewer submission today.
What do we got?
I was married for 8 years, divorced for 2. My ex-husband has been seeing someone new for about 6 months, and she's starting to reach out to me. At first, it was about logistics with our kids, but now she asks things like, how did you handle him when he got moody? Or did you ever feel like he didn't listen? I don't hate her. Honestly, I kind of feel sorry for her. Yeah. But part of me thinks it's insane that I'm basically coaching my replacement on how to deal with my ex. Is it healthy that we talk, or am I setting myself up to stay trapped in my old marriage dynamic?
Oof. I got to tell you, girlfriend, this is you're not the only person who's ever been through this. Yeah, I can see 2 answers to this question. One of them is you're uniquely qualified to speak to this person because you've had the same position they have. Like you've been married to this person and they're still your co-parent. You said there are kids involved. This person is married to your co-parent now. So, you may want to be someone who has credibility to this person. The fact that they're reaching out to you is more inappropriate than whatever you choose to do. If you choose to talk to them or not talk to them, the fact that they're reaching out to you is kind of the inappropriate thing, although an understandable thing, even though inappropriate, right? Like there's some boundary stuff there that I think that person might need to work on, but I understand why they'd reach out to you. You're uniquely qualified. Like you've held the job that they're having trouble in and they want to know like, hey, how did you navigate this? So you're uniquely qualified to give that person advice. Do you owe that person advice? No, I don't think you owe that person advice. You may want to give it if you feel that it's helping the ecosystem of that household that your children live part of the time in to give this person advice. Great. There's another school of thought that would say there are 8 billion people on the planet and every single one of them is more qualified than you to be giving advice about your ex-husband. Like it is not that you're not qualified to do it, but that it's inappropriate that a person would ask you for it. That's just a real boundary issue. So I can see both arguments for this. I think you got to go with your gut. If you feel like the conversation is going to invite more, it sounds like to me, just from the information you've shared, that you probably were initially very approachable. And I applaud you for that. I think one of the hardest things for my clients and former clients to do is to let new relationships into the ecosystem of their family. And people who do it well, I have a lot of admiration for. I'm very proud that I think I did it really well. That's not just me. My co-parent, her now husband, then boyfriend, when he first met my sons, like that was an adjustment we had to do. That was a dance we all did together. It was a performance we, the adults, put on for these 2 young kids because they were like 7 and 9. And we had this attitude of like, hey, we want them to feel good about this. And I remember, I will say to his credit that my ex-wife's now longtime husband, when he was her boyfriend and they were getting serious and he was going to meet the kids, he was a divorced guy himself. And he sat me down and said, hey man, I just want you to know, like, I'm not going to try to be your kid's dad, And I remember sort of laughing and thinking like, don't worry, man, like my kids know who their dad is. But also like, I felt like the conversation was so well-intentioned. Like it was such a nice thing that he was saying, hey, I respect your role in these children's lives. And I remember meeting it with the similar grace and saying to him, hey man, listen, like, I'm so glad you're going to be involved in my children's lives. Like maybe you're going to be another adult looking out for them. Like, and maybe you're going to be the one that when they're 15 and that they're at that party that they're not supposed to be at, that they told us they were at a sleepover and their ride home is drunk. Maybe you're the adult they're going to call. And like, maybe they're going to call you and say, hey, don't tell mom and dad, but like, could you pick me up? Because my ride home is drunk. Maybe you're going to save my kid's life someday. Like it takes a village to raise kids. And let me tell you, if you say, hey, I want to be on your team and I want to help, pick up a shovel, man. Let's do this thing. And I tell you, 15 years he's been married to my ex-wife. We went to my 28-year-old son's wedding and he and I, we had a lot of fun together, man. Like we had a lot of fun together, like working with the ushers and tying everybody's bow ties. And we're on the same team. Like we're on the same team. We want to see this young person thrive. And he's been part of this team since those kids were like 7 and 9. And I'm really proud to have him as a teammate. So there's a school of thought that would say like, this person's on the team, welcome them on the team. Great. If you feel comfortable with that, do it. If you don't, If you feel there's a boundary issue here and you're like, hey, listen, I'm not here to give you relationship advice to a person that I'm divorced from, that's okay too. I think there's more than one way to live your life as a divorced person. But just the fact that you guys see it as the ecosystem that it is, that she would even approach you like that says something about how you've conducted yourself. And I think that's something to be proud of.
I'd say do it, but charge $8.50 an hour.
I mean, if you can get it, it's good money if you can get it. I've done worse things for less money, so go for it. All right, it's time for our Sexton-ism. For those of you who are unanointed, Sexton-isms are a list of things I say so frequently in my office that my staff has made a list of them, and that list will probably end up in a book someday. But until the book, we have this segment. This is one that I say pretty often to the point where my staff thinks it's funny. At the end of the day, when I leave, I often say, I'm going home, and if anyone needs me, I don't care. This sort of became an offshoot of things like, at the end of the day, look, there are professions. I used to work in a restaurant. I was a server for many years. And there was this wonderful feeling, because being in a restaurant, working in a kitchen as a server, it's like being on a pirate ship. Like, it's just chaos in the kitchen. And then when you walk out to the front of the house, like, it's just peaceful, serene, and it looks effortless. You have no idea how much effort it takes to make it look so effortless. Like, it's absolute chaos in that kitchen, like timing the food right and getting everything correct and then getting the food out on time while it's hot. It's chaos. But it's the chaos of making it look effortless. And a law firm is very much like that too. Family law is one of those professions. Like, I remember working in a restaurant at the end of the night when the whole restaurant was empty, all the tables have gone home, everything's clean, the kitchen's clean. There was this feeling of, oh, we're done. You will never have that feeling ever again if you go into family law. You never have everything done. You could literally work on every single one of these cases 24 hours a day and there'd still be shit you could need to do. So you really do at some point just go, I got to go home. That's it. I'm leaving. I'm going home. And I am a big believer in when you go home, just go home. Put it down. Like, you have to put it down. I get up, I start at 4 a.m. I work, I think about my clients from 4 a.m. until about 6, 7 o'clock at night. And then I go home. And if anybody needs anything, I don't care. Like, you're going to get me at 4 a.m. again. I got to get a little sleep. I got to have a moment of being unplugged in it, because at some point in this profession, and in your life, whatever it is you do for a living, at some point when it comes to your work, even if you love your work, even if you're passionate about it, even if you work 7 days a week and you dedicate yourself to it, at some point, you've got to go home and go to sleep. So at that point, you have to say the Sexton-ism. You have to say, I'm going home. And if anybody needs anything, I don't care. Gang, that's it for today's Better Call Sexton. Remember to go to sextonshow.com. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those things. It really does help the channel. We will see you again soon. We are adjourned.